As we've seen before, three enemies confront the saints. There's the harlot city, there are the two beasts, the beast from the sea and beast from the land, and there's the dragon. One by one, these are eliminated. The harlot is overthrown, the harlot city is overthrown. Then the two beasts are thrown into the lake of fire at the end of Jesus' triumphal procession. And finally, the dragon, Satan, is cast into an abyss, and he's chained, and he's prevented from deceiving the nations again. That's the beginning of the millennium that is described in Revelation chapter 20. And there are two things that Revelation tells us about the millennium, what's happening during the millennium. The first is that the dragon is chained. He's limited in his power. That doesn't mean that the dragon is completely eliminated. The dragon is not eliminated until the end of Revelation 20, when he's thrown into the lake of fire along with the two beasts. But he is limited in his power, and specifically he's limited and prevented from deceiving the nations. I think in the context of Revelation, what that means is that he's prevented from doing what he did in Revelation, which is gather all of the nations, the entire Roman Empire, plus apostate Jews, and allying them together against the church. That's not going to happen. Jesus is not going to allow that to happen again during the whole period of the millennium. The other thing that characterizes the millennium is the reign of the saints. The martyrs, those who have been beheaded for the faith, are seen on thrones, ruling over creation, ruling over the world. They're given the crowns that were discarded by the ancient ones. At the beginning of Revelation, when John first goes into heaven, he sees the ancient ones casting their crowns before the throne of God. Those are the ancient angels, the rulers of the old world. And they're casting their crowns in order to give up their positions of rule because they're being replaced. And Revelation is about the replacement of those angelic rulers with human rulers. But not human rulers in general. They're replaced by specific human rulers, by the martyrs, by those who witnessed to death. Those receive the crowns. Those receive the thrones. And so the millennium is characterized by those two things: Satan's defeat and the reign of the saints. And it's important to realize when the millennium is. It begins, according to the book of Revelation, which is the only book of the Bible that talks about the millennium. It begins with the defeat of the harlot and the defeat of the beasts. It begins shortly after John receives the visions. The millennium began in the 1st century AD, and we've been living in the millennium ever since. The millennium is a symbolic picture of the time period between the fall of Jerusalem and the end of the old world and the last coming of Jesus and the final judgment. That's the world we're in. Satan is chained. Satan is limited in his power. And for 2,000 years, the martyrs and the saints have been reigning. That's the good news of Revelation, that Jesus has won the victory, the martyrs have won the victory, and have ushered in a new world under human rule, under the rule of the martyrs.